This will be our last week today and on Thursday to consciously consider the Heart Sutra. It will be considering us as we consider it consciously and unconsciously forever. And then I'm going to be away for some weeks, and I am totally delighted. There's part of me that wishes I could be a fly on the wall, that different Sangha members, pairs of Sangha members mostly, are going to step forward and help us consider happiness. I think but Buddhism, sometimes it seems like the emphasis is sickness, aging, and death, which it is. It's about impermanence, but mostly it's about impermanence. And if there wasn't impermanence, there wouldn't be beauty, and there wouldn't be happiness, and there wouldn't be joy, and there wouldn't be birth or death. And so sickness, aging, and death is maybe a way to get our attention. But if we just stay there and don't get, as the Dalai Lama says, the purpose of being here, if there is a purpose, is to be happy with and for everybody. So I think it's wonderful that you all are going to get to play together in happiness in these summer months, no matter what's happening, because there's no guarantee. I don't think the happiness we're talking about is well, some part of me thought the American dream. It's like if you get enough stuff and finally you'll get it all figured out, and then you will have permanent happiness. That's not what we're talking about. Well, I'll ask you when I get back, what are we talking about? And I hope you all laugh and smile and cry and have a sense of the ephemeralness and the beauty of it all. Not miss any of it, because otherwise it would mean you were dead, which will be okay when you're dead, I guess. But since you're alive, we might as well be here for the full game, so to speak. So let's do the before lecture chant. An unsurpassed, penetrating, and perfect Dharma is rarely met with, even in 100,000 million kalpas. Having it to see and listen to remember and accept, I vow to taste the truth of the Tathagata's words. So we've been calling on different teachers, and I've been referencing the most recent Lion's Roar and the commentaries by different teachers on the Heart Sutra. The one we're going to turn towards today is by Norman Fischer. So I'll begin there, and then I'm going to jump off from there, and then we'll jump off from there, and we'll just keep jumping, leaping, spreading our wings. This one is called The Wisdom That Cures Our Ills. The Heart Sutra's teaching on no separation, says Norman Fischer, is essential news for our time. So I'm just going to read parts of this. By now, the word bodhisattva is common in English. It's included in the dictionary. I didn't know that. Guess I should look it up. A bodhisattva is a compassionate spiritual being completely dedicated to the love and support of others. A bodhisattva is a compassionate spiritual being completely dedicated to the love and support of others. What the dictionary doesn't say is that the bodhisattva's compassion depends on penetrating wisdom, prajna paramita. That might be a bit much to put in Webster's. We'll have to look up, see if prajna paramita is in, well, maybe that'll be next year. That'll become part of our American lexicon. Prajna paramita, literally the perfection of wisdom. This is the perfect wisdom of emptiness taught in the Heart Sutra. Emptiness and compassion may seem incompatible. How could the Heart Sutra be about love and kindness? How could wisdom be about love and kindness? But in Mahayana Buddhism, which emphasizes bodhisattva practice, they are not just complementary. Wisdom and compassion absolutely depend on one another. You can't separate them. Mahayana, how is it that emptiness and compassion go together, you might ask? Because compassion is emphasized in Mahayana Buddhism, it's different from ordinary compassion. Now, this is really important because I don't have any doubt that we're all compassionate, kind, loving human beings. But if we don't know the ground of wisdom and emptiness, we are going to get burned out. We're going to get cynical. We're going to get resentful. I mean, not all the time, and that will still probably be there anyway. But if you don't know and cultivate this ground that the Heart Sutra is pointing at, being a compassionate human being could be exhausting. Ordinary compassion involves an inherently existing me over here being compassionate to an inherently existing you over there. In helping you, I will sacrifice something of my own well-being, which may make me resistant to helping. I thought I wanted to help you, but I'm getting really tired of helping you. And besides, you don't really seem grateful enough for all the helping that I'm doing of you. And anyway, if you study the mind, you're familiar with this. But if the sacrifice isn't too great and I am willing to make it, even if it is, I will receive some inner satisfaction and probably some credit from others for being such a good and caring person. The compassion of the bodhisattva is empty of both a me who gives and the other who receives. It's freedom. The Heart Sutra is a litany of apparent denials. We know that from chanting it. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no sight, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no. Lists of phenomena are recited in shorthand form, each of which is said to be empty, including perception, suffering, and even enlightenment. Empty in what sense? Empty of inherent self-existence. In other words, in case you might wonder what that means, things exist in some way, but not in the way we experience them as solid, separate, completely real entities. Now, that's really important. This is not saying to us, you really got it wrong, and you should get over this confused perception that there's separate yous, me's, and otherwise. It says, of course, that's the way you perceive. Those are human sense apparatus, but look deeper. It's like when you sit down in Zazen, the entire body is hands and eyes. What's really going on here? It means there are no helpers and no one to be helped. There are no separate beings. It may look that way, but there's only the unceasing coming and going of being, which means that we are all of us one great flashing, fleeting, floating being. Phew. What if we developed both eyes and we could see the separation and the particular and the beauty of it? Don't want to skip a particular bird or a bird song or a particular person. But what if we knew that nothing could exist without anything else, and it's all flashing in and out of this, it's all energy, it's all love is really what it is, taking form moment after moment. Compassion based on this vision of reality is sustainable, joyful, and wide, devoid of self-sacrifice and burnout. No one is compassionate to anyone. Life itself is compassion. There's no separation. There's only compassion and love. To take care of you is to take care of me. And probably for Westerners, just as important to take care of me as to take care of you. Don't skip this self. How can you ever imagine you're going to be kind to somebody else if you can't be kind to this self? Don't get stuck there, but don't skip it. My compassionate caring for you is like my hand pulling a thorn out of my foot. Of course, the hand does this. It understands without thinking the hands and feet are part of the same body. So it's important to notice that this is about Avalokiteshvara when practicing deeply. Avalokiteshvara, the Buddha enters meditation and Avalokiteshvara is describing to us the experience of Buddha's meditation. And Avalokiteshvara is describing it, I said this before, but I'll say it again, to Shariputra, who is known as one of the smartest disciples of the Buddha. He's the intellectual one. He's the one who knows all the categories, who studied all the stuff. I mean, our Shariputra is a really wise person. But there's something Shariputra is missing here. And Avalokiteshvara is kind enough to illuminate him and us. Avalokiteshvara is teaching us that a person who wishes to train in the wisdom of emptiness should see as the Bodhisattva of compassion sees, the way Avalokiteshvara sees, that all things are empty of intrinsic inherent existence, which is to say, empty of separation and the pain of separation and isolation. So when we are feeling the pain of separation and isolation, take a breath. Don't skip it. Please feel it. But simultaneously take a breath back into the fabric of existence, because you were never separate or alone. And having understood and experienced that, it changes our relationship to feeling separate and alone into compassion. So, oh, this is what human beings think and feel. And all of our confusion comes out of this. We think we're alone and separate, and we have to fight for things. People don't like us, or we don't have enough, or there's suffering in the world, and we want to fix it, and we don't know how to fix it, and on and on. Take a breath and come back. Because here's where the outflow of compassion arises from. Compassion is not only possible, it is the essence of reality. The Heart Sutra ends with a mantra that sums up the teaching in one phrase. I love this mantra. You could just go around saying this mantra all the time. If you get confused, you get angry, you get lost, you feel alone, you feel happy, you feel sad. Maybe while I'm away, you could all just chant Gate Gate for the entire month. That would cover it, but you might get a little bored or something, but maybe you wouldn't. Gate Gate Para Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Svaha. I love that. At the end. So now, also been turning to Kobun Chino's talks on the Heart Sutra. Kobun Chino was one of the teachers that Suzuki Roshi brought over from Japan to help teach Buddhism to our Western hearts and minds. And he just happens to have a whole chapter, a whole few pages on Gate Gate. And I think it's beautiful. So I'm going to share it with you. Kobun Chino says, this mantra is a very unusual sound for us. Gate, Gate, Parasam Gate. The truth is expressed in these words. This mantra is the mantra which relieves all suffering that is caused by delusion. In this mantra, whatever we experience, whatever, it takes the form of gate gate. When you listen to your heart, when you touch your body, you feel something going on. Each heartbeat is another sound of gate, para sam gate, bodhi swaha. Whatever we experience, however we feel this experience, this is our perception of existence itself, constantly changing, uttering in a silent voice. Gate, para sam gate, bodhi swaha. Like a dream appearing and disappearing at the same time, constantly this mantra frees you from your dream. You dream, but you are freed from your dream. This dream that you think is solid, that is you, that is full of suffering, is on the most fundamental level. Gate, para sam gate. Each moment we sense something new, experiencing our existence in many phenomenal figures. A substantial, permanent knower. If a substantial, permanent knower existed, awakening would never appear. There would be nothing but continuous illusion. These words, gate, are like, you ready? Sounds of birds, high voices, low voices, sharp voices. If you wish to get the meaning, listen to the birds. Their sharp eyes and sounds, hear what they are saying, how they are feeling, like those beautiful little hummingbirds that Elaine let us witness, hatching out in their little nest, being and singing gate. Or gate can be heard in the sounds of violin strings or the snoring of a sleeping person. If you know what it is saying, I am, you are. There is no dirt on the ground, no green in the leaves. You understand your mind is everything, which is yourself. Everything is yourself, and everything exists as it is, and there is no knowing, no need to know, because you know it already. If we try to know how we can be freed from things, how we can be free, we become so busy. But the experience of freedom cannot be known. You can't grab hold of it and cognize it because it's changing and moving all the time. That's why we human beings get so down on ourselves, I think, is we have a sense or an intuition of it. Had it just a moment ago, but can't grab hold of it. What's the matter with me? What's the matter with you? It's like, let bird song permeate and break your heart wide open. It's a sound of freedom, and the sound of freedom from delusion. When leaves fall from the tree, there is a sound. Maybe the branch makes the sound, or the stems of the leaves make the sound. You can't tell which, but the sound tells you of freedom. Leaves fall. You may say they are freed from the oak, from the summer, showing the color of autumn. They are calling to the snowflake. The sound of falling leaves can be echoed in spring rain. It can appear in the middle of falling snow. This is a kind of faith that arises from being alive. Whatever you see is the myriad forms of Buddha nature. Even in the eye of a blind person, you see Buddha nature. In 100 repetitions of a lie, you see Buddha nature. Which is why the Heart Sutra and studying the Dharma is a kind of antidote to reading the newspaper, to the things that we have been taught that is and isn't and are and aren't. I mean, please don't close our eyes to the suffering of the world. But if we really want to be of help, we need to hear the song of the world. And then naturally, our hands open and our heart opens, and the wings of wisdom and compassion. It's how you fly, with your feet completely on the earth. It's gate, gate, para gate, parasam gate, bodhisvaha. So I'm curious, go into small groups. If this is your first time here, or you've been here for all of these talks about the Heart Sutra and all of the different commentaries,